5:30.
We don't have a money problem, we have a spending problem.
The Assembly Republicans have laid out their priorities for the legislative session, including how to manage our tax dollars. Coverage of the 2021 legislative session tops 2 News at 5:30. The Republican caucus is also focused on the economy, education, and election reform. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan Kennedy.
And I'm Kristen Remington. Thank you for keeping it here with us at 5:30. The GOP released its battle-born priorities during a press conference just this afternoon. Paul Nelson was there, and he joins us live at the Legislative Building down in Carson. All right, Paul, what are Republicans saying about this plan?
Well, a lot of it stems from the pandemic, Kristen. A big focus is getting businesses and schools back on track. They also want lawmakers to have some responsibility and accountability as they go through the budget process.
We do not have a budget problem, we have a government problem.
Assembly Republicans say they're working on a plan that'll save the state money without raising taxes. They say funding should be spent responsibly and account for $18 billion of federal money that has come into Nevada.
How the money has been spent is something we plan on finding out throughout the session, through our budget hearings.
A major focus is getting the state back on track during the pandemic.
The number one priority is because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to reopen our state, reopen our businesses, and get people back to work.
That includes schools. Republican lawmakers want kids to get back to school safely, saying the closures are causing learning loss and depression for some students, and they want to give schools liability protection.
It's important that we ensure that these very important tax dollars stay in the classroom for our students and not end up in the pockets of lawyers seeking lawsuits against school districts for COVID.
The GOP is also looking to repeal a law that enacted universal mail-in ballots and allowed people to deliver them for others.
This is simply no way to hold an election. It creates a real crisis in confidence. We have seen, as we documented, some of the concrete examples of some of the problems.
Lawmakers could also take a look at what the governor's authority should be during an extended state of emergency.
What defines this governor's powers under an extended emergency? And at what point does he have to come back to the legislative branch for checks and balances?
Titus says defining the governor's authority is something that both parties should be willing to look at. There is a bill out there that would limit his state of emergency powers to just 15 days. Of course, we'll bring you the Democrats' plan as soon as they release their priorities. Covering the 2021 legislature live in Carson City, Paul Nelson, 2 News.
All right, Paul, as always, thanks for breaking all that down for us. And please be sure to stay with 2 News on the air and on our 2 News app for continuing coverage of the 2021 legislative session.
In case you missed it,